I believed loyalty was enough. It wasn't.
The smell of oil and metal always grounded me. That morning felt no different as I worked beneath a lifted car, convinced my life was stable. I believed that routine protected me, that honest work and loyalty were enough to keep everything intact. My hands moved automatically, guided by years of experience passed down from my father, who taught me pride in simple labor. You see, fixing things had always made sense to me in a way people never quite did. I loved the quiet predictability of my days, the simple fact that effort led to results without any deception. But that same predictability, the thing I cherished, it made me blind. When I first noticed the distance at home, I explained it away. I told myself it was just stress, ambition. Success has a way of changing people slowly, almost politely. Late nights became the new normal. Excuses became smoother, more practiced. Affection, which used to be a given, suddenly felt conditional, though there was never an announcement. I told myself that marriages just mature into silence, that this was a natural progression. But then the money got tighter, even though earnings were higher, and my questions were met with irritation instead of explanation. I swallowed my doubt because doubt felt like a betrayal. It felt disloyal. So I did what I knew how to do. I worked harder. I took on longer hours, believing that my sacrifice would somehow restore our closeness. Instead, it just created more space. And in that space, something else began to grow. The first real crack appeared when the admiration, the praise, shifted outward. It was no longer directed at the life we had built together. I felt that change deep in my gut before I could even put a name to it. The day everything finally changed arrived quietly. There was no warning, no big dramatic scene. I came home early, driven by an instinct I couldn't explain rather than any specific reason. The house felt different, occupied by secrets instead of people. Then I heard laughter, drifting from a place where it no longer belonged. What I saw didn't shock me as much as how familiar it all looked to them. The betrayal felt practiced, rehearsed, almost justified in their eyes. I didn't shout. I didn't confront them. Something much colder than anger took over instantly. Leaving, right then and there, felt necessary for survival, not for dignity. I just needed air before I completely collapsed. That night, sleep was impossible. I didn't grieve. I planned. Every memory replayed in my mind, but with new meaning. Every past kindness was suddenly recast as a calculated manipulation. Clarity arrived, and it was painful, but it was complete. The next morning brought a sharp focus instead of grief. Emotion stepped aside for preparation. I started documenting everything quietly, without a single accusation or warning. The truth became my shield. My silence became a strategy, and my patience became dangerous. I watched them carefully, all while pretending that nothing had changed. And you know what? Patterns emerged once denial was stripped away. Arrogance always leaves fingerprints. I learned that confidence breeds carelessness and power assumes immunity. Methodically, every piece of the puzzle fell into place. Evidence replaced emotion entirely. The betrayal was no longer personal. It was systemic. What followed wasn't a blind rage, but a cold, hard resolve. I chose exposure over confrontation. I knew that timing mattered far more than force, because a truth delivered publicly carries a weight that can't be ignored. I waited for the perfect moment, the one where the damage would be unavoidable and permanent. That moment arrived dressed up as a celebration. From a distance, I watched an entire empire collapse in real time. Control vanished the instant that light touched the deception. And honestly, there was no satisfaction in watching it all happen. There was only a sense of finality. The consequences unfolded rapidly, completely indifferent to excuses or pleas. A foundation built on lies can never survive scrutiny. Before I reacted to what hurt me, I protected what mattered most. My boundaries became unmovable. So when the confrontation finally came, it carried no power. The outcome had already been decided. The silence that followed felt earned, not empty. Peace arrived just as quietly as the trouble had. Life simplified in the most unexpected ways. The luxury disappeared, but clarity remained. My work became grounding again. My purpose returned. Loneliness followed, of course, but it wasn't honest loneliness. and I learned that honesty hurts far less than deception. Time passed unevenly, marked by the slow process of rebuilding rather than by regret. Healing refused to be rushed. The loss transformed into instruction, and perspective replaced the bitterness that could have easily consumed me. I learned that revenge doesn't always look violent. Sometimes it looks like patience. Sometimes it looks like meticulous preparation. And sometimes it just looks like survival. Standing alone no longer frightened me. In fact, it steadied me. The past lost its power over me once I stopped fighting it. Acceptance felt so much stronger than anger ever had. New routines formed slowly. Life began to expand again, cautiously. Trust returned inward first, before I ever thought about extending it outward. Self-respect became the anchor for every choice I made. Occasionally, memories still surface without my control, but they no longer define me. The future feels uncertain, but it's an honest uncertainty. And I've learned that honesty matters more than comfort. Betrayal exposes the truth faster than love ever does. And that truth, it changes everything. I no longer measure my worth by appearances or by what others think of me. Integrity has replaced illusion. Peace has settled in the places where vigilance once lived. Stability returned, but this time without any pretense. What shocked everyone wasn't the destruction, it was the restraint. The greatest revenge wasn't taking something away from them. It was refusing to let them take anything more from me. In rebuilding my life quietly, I found something I never even knew I needed. Freedom without illusion. Life didn't return to what it was.